role play, I want to talk about something. I had a quick conversation this week with someone who was just pretty much what they said, and I'm paraphrasing. I don't like scripts because I don't like the way I sound. I don't like the way I show up on the phone. I sound very canned. I sound very robotic. And that's one of the reasons why I don't really like making the calls. And they were saying to me, like, David, man, when I hear you role playing, it sounds so natural. And what I need you to understand is it should sound natural. I've been doing it for a number of years. I've been in real estate for 20 years. It should be natural at this point. It wasn't in the beginning. So before we get started with the role play, I just wanted to give you guys some pointers on what I did to improve my scripting. If you're able to write this down, great. If not, watch the recording later on. Here's the first thing. In order to internalize the script so that it sounds like me and it's not robotic and canned, is that I would read through my script. So the challenge I would give you guys between now and the call next Friday, take a script that you want to master. I don't care which one it is, listing presentation, physical, expired, circle prospecting, whatever it is. I want you to read through that script every day for 10 minutes. Read through it as fast as you can. So you can probably do a script 5 times in 10 minutes, probably more than that. So 10 minutes a day, I want you to read through that script every day until next Friday. I also want you to write it down daily. These are some of the things I do in my push training, and it helps the agents internalize the script. So I want you to write it down. I want you to listen to your role play recording. So if you are practicing your scripts, you should be listening back to them to see what you did well. And then role play partners, you want to have role play at least 5 days a week for 15 to 20 minutes. No chit chat. You get on the phone, you get right into it. You guys practice your scripts, and then you give feedback. You're not helping your role play partner if you just say, great job. You did a good job there. Tell them one thing they did well. Tell them one thing they can improve on, right? Help them get better. That's the whole point of doing role play. And the other thing I would say is start prospecting now. Don't feel like you need to know the script, soup to nuts before you actually get on the phone to start prospecting. You're going to learn by actually calling real sellers, calling real for sale by owners. And the way you want to look at this is you're afraid you're going to mess up and not know what to say and not get the business. Well, you're not making the call, so you're not getting the business anyhow. So if you make the calls, 2 things are going to happen. You're either going to win or you're going to learn. You're never going to lose. And so if you take those scenarios that you got on the phone and you come to this call and say, hey, I actually took you up on that, David, and I call and expired. Here's what they said, and I didn't know what to say. That's what this call is for, so that we can help work you through that conversation to show you what you should be saying in order to get the results that you're looking for in your business. The other thing I want you to do here is to record your calls if you can, and all of us can. There are apps on your phone where you can record your calls. If you're using Vulcan 7, you can record your calls. Listen back to your calls. Are you following the script? How's your tonality, right? Do you have a bunch of filler words? Are you asking enough questions? Are you talking too much? You will figure that out by going back and watching the recording. So those are the things that I want you to work on. There's no accountability here. I'm not telling you to check in with me and tell me that you did the work. However, if you want the money, you got to put the work in. You got to do the reps. And so I hope that you will take me up on that and start working on practicing the scripts. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. It's 8:34. Thank you guys for being here this morning. Let me ask you as we get started, any wins over this past week, getting on the phone, using what you've learned on the script call? Did you get further than you normally get? Were you able to book an appointment? Anybody have any wins they want to share? Don't be shy. I love this part. Everybody's like, should I speak? Should I say anything? Bomika, go ahead. What's up? Tell us your win.
Hey, David, it's me, Manny.
Oh, Manny, what's up? And then Bomika, go ahead.
Who's first?
Oh,
Uh,
so what's it? Ladies first.
Bomika, go ahead, and then Manny's after you.
Okay. So I got a listing last week. It was an expired listing that I had met back in October last year. And when I went on an appointment with this seller, on the day of the appointment, they told me that we have decided we don't want to sell. So I went at the appointment regardless. I told them, listen, I've done this work. there's no harm in keeping the information, maybe you'll use it or maybe you'll pass on this to somebody else. So I went there. I met with them and I got to know more about their motivation, which I knew already, but the wife was not there. I had gone before to preview the property and I stayed in touch with the seller. I knew why he was thinking about selling the property, what were his plans and all those things. So for me, staying in touch with the seller was more from the referral standpoint. I knew that he was going to retire soon. I sent him the card and everything. And I would call him, after every 3 months, hey, how's it going? I'm not selling my house. And I said, I know that, do you know anybody? So it was kind of more of a friendly relationship with them. And in May, I called him. I knew that he was going to Portugal and I just wanted to check with him. Hey, how's it going? How's everything? And it went to voicemail. After 2 weeks, he calls me back and he tells me that he's ready to sell.
Nice.
So I go there. It was more of, like, now let's sign the paperwork. I had sent him everything. He had filled out everything. We discussed on the price, and then, it's the open house is on Sunday. It's in East Rutherford.
Okay.
So staying in touch consistently. Sometimes you never know, they say they don't want to sell, but for me, this was more, I had that relationship built with them, and in terms of maybe they'll think of somebody who they cross and they'll refer me, and at least that they said that, okay, I think we are ready to move on now.
Well,
Which I kind of had a feeling. Yeah.
I love it. And if you guys heard what Bhumika said, essentially what she's saying is our job is to not only make the calls, our job is to consistently follow up with no call bias. How many of you guys, when the person said, no, I'm not interested, like he was kind of like, why are you calling me? I'm not selling right now. You guys would have just given up. She continued to push through and followed up over the course of 6 months longer. She got the listing. Bhumika, what's best case scenario? What's the commission you're going to earn from that? Gross.
22 grand.
How much?
22.
22. I could follow up with you for 6 months to
time.
earn 22 grand, right? So that's the whole thing you guys need to understand. And the way you need to look at it, Bhumika might look at that 22 grand and say, okay, over 6 months, how many times did I call this guy? What if she called him 22 times for follow-up? That's $1,000 a call. I'll take it. I don't know where else you can make calls for $1,000 a call. I will take that. You got to understand that it's a long game. Bhumika, I appreciate you sharing that. Manny, what was your win?
I had a listing presentation last Friday with the seller for his house that he wants to list for $3.8 million. They didn't quite get him to sign the listing agreement because he wanted to interview another real estate agent, ask the questions. Then he was like, how much is the commission that you're going to make? 6% plus 2% closing costs, and it was about $300,000. Then he was saying like, man, this system is broken. How do you guys think you deserve that? But because of being on these calls, I flipped it on him. And I said, were you a buyer once and took advantage of the same commissions that the seller was paying? And then he was like, I didn't think of it that way. And I said, exactly. So long story short, I didn't get the listing right away, but I am following up to see if he spoke to the other agent that he wanted to speak to. So I'm just following up, and being on these calls, I realized that because you and everybody else that speaks on them, I had objection handlers ready. So I feel like I was prepared, so I didn't lose.
I love it, Manny. Manny, are you the best agent for the job on getting that listing sold?
100%.
Make sure he knows that when you follow up, like, I'm the right person. I'm the one that can get you to the finish line and get you the results you want. I know you're talking to someone else. I'm the right person. Put me to work. I'm ready to go right now.
The thing is, I did get him his listing, his rental that he's paying $15,000 a month for. So I got him that rental, but he almost fucked up. He didn't put his money in escrow at the time that he was supposed to, but I was able to salvage the deal with the listing agent and the landlord. So he already saw that, I had good negotiating skills. So let's see.
Remind him about that. This is why you want to hire
Sure.
me. Remember when this happened, how I was able to advocate for you? You want someone like me in your corner. It remind him of what you've done.
Exactly.
All right, man. Let's go. Keep us posted. Appreciate you.
Thank you, man.
All right, so let's get into it. And before I start throwing out some scripts and objections, I kind of like what Pete did when he was hosting the call, and he asked, like, was there a situation you came up with on the phones this week? Was there any type of pushback at a listing presentation where you didn't quite know how to handle the objection or overcome that question that they asked you? What situation did you guys come up against in this past week that we can talk about? And since I know all of you guys are doing your lead gen at least 4 to 5 days a week, I'm sure you at least have a few different opportunities to talk about scripts and objections with us today. Who has something that we can throw out to the group?
Okay.
I love it. What's up, Ashley? Give it to us.
I have seen like a common theme with buyers when I'm calling of like it's too expensive, but like I struggle with trying to make sure like they understand like waiting isn't necessarily the best case scenario, but like obviously some people like if their finances don't make sense, it doesn't make sense. But I feel like some people are holding on to interest rates in the economy, but not necessarily the whole picture.
Got it. Got it. So guys, how would Ashley handle that? Someone saying like, I feel like this is too expensive for me right now. What's the conversation that you would have with that particular buyer? Bloranda, go ahead.
I mean, so I would ask them, I don't know if it's the interest rates or if it's just, too expensive. Like, I would say, like, what's expensive about it and how long do you plan on waiting for interest rates to drop, right? Because then they'll start to talk about, like, what their motivation is and how, when they are looking to ideally move. And again, if interest rates are high, but you can, comfortably afford what your monthly payment's going to be, and when the rates drop later, you can always refinance. The goal is to secure a property now as prices continue to increase. That's really like how I kind of pitch it to people.
Okay, like that, Bloranda. Anybody else have something? Because here's what I'm thinking right now. A year ago, how much has property value increased over the past year? Anybody want to know for your perspective, counties, how much has property values increased over the last year? Matt, give it to me.
Between 11 and 14%.
11 to 14%. Yep. I heard Barclay saying in Miami 14% just the other day. Matt, how about you?
5 to 6%.
5 to 6%. So is there a likelihood that if they end up waiting for it to go down, the market will continue to increase and it's going to be maybe another 11 to 14% or maybe another 5 to 6% in the next year? Absolutely. However, we're not fortune tellers. If we could tell the future, we all be rich. We don't know what's going to happen with the market. The best time to buy is now, right? The second best time was like 20 years ago, but the best time to buy is right now. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I work with a lender and I come up with a cost of waiting sheet that I kind of hang on to for a certain area. And then it gives them a breakout of like how much it would have cost you if you waited between now and the next 90 days, which would be like the average length of a transaction. And then I also come with like, I have a script for buyers when they're, I have to overpay for a property. It's expensive right now. Knowing your numbers makes you a god. So if I know that in this area, my list price for sales price is 3.5%, but the year over year appreciation nationwide has been 5 to 6% since 2018, then that tells me that at least within the first 6 to 8 months of me purchasing a property that I overpaid for, I'm going to gain that appreciation back by the end of the year.
Wow. Yeah. So knowing your numbers is really important.
Knowing your numbers
being able
helps.
to have that conversation is extremely important. All right, Matt. So I want you to throw out a objection to anyone, someone you don't know on this call, even if their camera's off, throw them this objection. I'm putting 90 seconds up on the clock and we're going to give them 90 seconds to overcome the objection. So you come up with the objection, you choose a person, they'll unmute and we'll get to it. Let's go.
Okay. I'm not paying 4% commission. And that is going to be, hold on, I got to pull everybody up here.
Wait. I just want to make sure I understand the objection. You said you're not paying 4%?
I'm sorry, I'm paying 4%. I apologize.
Okay. So
I'm only paying 4%.
I'm only paying 4%, and we're 6% agents. So you got the commission. I got you. Okay, choose somebody.
We're gonna do Lauren Yamana.
Lauren, can you unmute for us? And let me just say this, Lauren, before you unmute.
Hiding.
You're here to learn. You're here to get better. You either win or you learn. There's no failure here. If you don't feel like you're prepared, just unmute and say, I don't know if I can handle that. Let's work on getting comfortable being uncomfortable. Let's not hide behind these mute buttons and these cameras. You're going to give us a shot, Lauren? I promise you we won't bite. All right, move on to somebody else, man. Let's get somebody else.
Today.
All right, Tanae, what's up?
Hey, y'all.
All right, so did you hear the objection? You want 6%, and Matt is saying to you, I'm only going to pay 4%.
I didn't hear the objection, but okay.
Go for it.
I'm only paying you 4% today.
Matt, do you understand how commissions work?
Yes.
Okay, so if you do, then you'd understand that at 4%, it's being split up, right? Several ways, not just all to me. One of the most significant ways that money is being spent is on the marketing that I do for your home. Being able to get it out there to the public so we can get qualified buyers in to buy your home. At 4%, I'm going to have to cut some of that marketing budget, which in turn will hurt the marketing of the home, which in turn will bring us less potential buyers, which in turn will potentially have the house on the market longer than either you or I would like. So when you think about commissions and 4% versus 6%, that additional 2% can go a long way and also could potentially be made up in the sale of the home. Because if it's sold properly, chances are you may even make more money and that 2% will become irrelevant in at the end of the day.
Yeah, but I've talked to 4 other realtors who, and they all, you guys are a dime a dozen. So, I mean.
Well, listen, you're right. There are tons of agents. You're absolutely right. But every agent isn't the right agent, right? And there's a old saying, which I'm sure you heard, you get what you pay for. I'm not charging you 6% just because I want to be greedy and take the money from you. I'm charging you 6% because I know at that rate what I can do for you, and that's get your home sold. You can go with the guy for 4%, but that doesn't guarantee your house is going to be sold. And in the long run, you may end up paying more money. Honestly, what's more important to you? You selling your home or getting that 2% off? What's more important?
I'm going to pause you there. Tanae, you ended with what I've been wanting you to do, ask some questions. I was like, when is she going to ask some questions? And there you have it.
I was about to flip it and just start asking her
questions. Stop talking, questions.
Because here's the thing, even I know the scripts, and I'm not saying this to like give you a hard time. I just want to put it in perspective.
Yeah.
I know the scripts with all the numbers you were throwing back and forth to him. I was getting lost and I was just kind of shutting down, right? Mm-hmm. So imagine the seller who doesn't know what you're talking about and they're not well versed in this conversation. You're kind of talking at them. You got to bring them into the conversation, and you bring them into the conversation by asking questions. What did Matt say? You guys are all a dime a dozen. I've already talked to 3 or 4 other agents. To me, that's a perfect time to say, well, Matt, let me ask you, did all of those other agents, were they willing to do the lower commission? And he probably would have said, I'm guessing he would have said yes. And I'm gonna say, so I can understand why you call them a dime a dozen. They are. Here's how I'm different. I don't discount my commission. I don't lower my commission. I'm a bulldog, Matt. I fight for my commission. Here's why that's important to you. I'm going to fight like a bulldog for your equity. And I'm going to make sure we leave no money on the table. And when you go to that closing table, that check is nice. I mean, that's what you want, right? It's to make sure you're making the most money possible on the sale of this home. Right, Matt? Like, I'm going to take it there and like just start asking questions and saying things. What you were saying was good, though. And I love your confidence and I love your tonality. I just want you to think, what am I saying to Matt? How can I ask a question that will get him to get to the understanding of the commission? It's not the commission. It's what he puts in his pocket and what I do for him. We got to take that conversation away from the commission and make it about what's important to the seller, which is what they net, if that makes sense. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So Tanae, you're up. I want you to look at anybody on this call, someone you don't know, and give them an objection.
Okay. I'm looking. I feel like I know all of you guys.
Well, then just call somebody. Let's just, you can just call somebody.
Tim? I don't think I know Tim.
Damn, I thought I was popular.
Tim is the man. All right, give it to Tim.
Sorry, Tim, my bad. Tim, I have an agent that I'm already working with, and I'm not considering working with other agents. So thank you, but no thank you.
And are you selling or buying?
I'm selling.
Okay.
Okay. Is this agent you're working with a family member of yours?
No, but they are someone that I've done business with in the past.
Okay.
Think about what you want to know about this agent, Tim. Don't overthink it. What do you want to know? She's telling you she's got this other agent. What are some questions you have about this other agent?
Okay. So you did some businesses with this agent before. How did think of the stats, but putting them into questions.
Well, you could bring up stats, but here's the thing. She said, I'm working with an agent.
Yeah.
I mean, if it were me, I would want to know what?
Who?
Maybe who, but even before
Oh.
who? What do you want to know?
What brokerage? No, I don't think that's important.
Somebody tag
Are you committed? Are you?
Thank you.
Did you?
Did you sign a listing agreement?
Yep. Renee, Manny, I heard him say it. Beverly's saying it. Yep. Have
Are
you
you
signed
obligated?
paperwork with that agent? Are you officially working with them? Like, if someone tells you I have an agent, find out if the paperwork's been signed. If it has, well, good luck to you. Thank you. Get off the phone. Don't get yourself in trouble working to convince someone to list with you and they already have a commitment with someone else. So find out if the paperwork's signed. If it's a no, then I will go into some additional questions. That's the first one, though, Tim. Before you start talking, find out if they're in contract together, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. Okay. What are some other questions that Tim could have asked? Anybody just jump in to help Tim out, because I want to give him a few questions that he can ask when someone says, I'm already working with another agent.
Are you obligated to work with
obligated? Yeah.
Yep. Are you obligated to work with that agent? Like, even if they haven't signed the paperwork yet, is that someone that you are obligated to actually work with? And I might tell you, yes, my mother-in-law, if my wife doesn't, my wife will kill me if I don't use her. If that's the case, I'm not wasting my time on you. But if I say, well, no, if I knew there was another option that could give me a better outcome, I might be open to it. Well, then I'm going to continue to follow up until you list with me or the other agent. Alberto, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Sutter. How you have an agreement already?
No, not officially.
Okay. It doesn't. How do you get a second opinion when you need a surgery? I mean, the doctor tell you the diagnosis that you need a surgery. Sometimes you get a second or third opinion. Getting a second opinion, it doesn't hurt, and probably you can get better results. Is 3 o'clock work for you today or for tomorrow afternoon?
I'm not sure. I want to talk to my husband first. I mean, this is a really good friend of ours. I feel bad if I don't work with him.
I understand, but sometimes you ask a friend that is gonna tell you, I'm gonna help you whenever you need. And because you don't look around, you didn't get at the end the result that you wanted to get because he was a friend. It's most important to you. It's the most important financial transaction for you and your family. Don't you think so?
Yeah.
Tana.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, we need to be asking more questions. And we're talking a lot. We need to be involving the seller and asking some more questions. Who could do that same thing with Tanae, but be more question-based? What's up, Raj? I saw your hand go up, and then I saw Matt and Ashley. Go ahead, Raj.
Has there ever been a time when you decided to buy something or do something and a friend said, hey, no problem, I can do it. And then in the end, because you didn't check around, you really didn't get what you want. Well, has there ever been a time like that? Well, this time is kind of like that time. And with that in mind, can you see the importance of having a second opinion?
Okay. I like that. Ashley, what do you have?
I was going to say, like, 'cause if they've worked previously, how do you feel about the job they did in the past?
Mm.
Right. And that's a very valid question. Like, hey, I respect you have a relationship with this agent. And listen, you don't owe me anything today. You really don't owe the other agent anything. However, you owe it to yourself to make sure the home sells when you put it back on the market. So the
Right.
question I have for you is, what are they going to do this second time around that they failed to do the first time they had your house listed?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I would think that they would have put out all the stops when they had your house listed the first time, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but last time, to be honest, I think it was a little easier because the market was hot, so it didn't take much.
It didn't take much, and yet it didn't sell, did it?
It did, but it took a while.
Okay. In the hot market, it took a while. Yeah. Are you aware of how when your house stays on the market for a long period of time, you end up losing a lot of equity when you sell it? Are you aware of that?
I really wasn't, but I mean, I guess I didn't sell it for what I wanted, so I guess that's the same thing, right?
It can be. I mean, Tanae, when you sell this house, you're going to be buying something else, right?
Yes.
So if you saw a house that had been sitting on the market for months and they hadn't sold, are you going to go in and offer full price?
No.
Why not?
Because I feel like if it's been sitting there for so long, something must be wrong. So that gives me room to negotiate.
I agree. And see, that's what happened with your previous home. You didn't sell it for as much because it was sitting on the market and people thought maybe something was wrong. So they offered you less.
Yeah, and I got desperate at that moment. So I guess I just went with the best offer, which
Yeah.
wasn't the best offer.
Yeah. Listen, Tanae, you don't owe me anything. However, you owe it to yourself to make sure when you put this house on the market, it sells quickly and for top dollar, right?
Yes.
So what I'm going to do is come out and meet with you and show you what I do to get property sold for top dollar. And if you don't see anything different than what your friend did, then of course, list with them. However, if I can show you what I do to get property sold for top dollar and you see a significant difference in the way I show up, I mean, you would entertain listing your home with me, wouldn't you?
I can't make you any promises, but I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to hear you out.
That's fair because I'm not making any promises either. I don't take every listing today because if I can't help you sell your home for top dollar and accomplish what you're looking for, I'd rather turn you down than let you down. So why don't we just have a conversation and I'll respect whatever you decide.
Okay. As long as you understand that it's no obligation.
Sure.
Okay.
That's how I would handle that with questions. Did you guys notice all the questions I'm asking? She can't argue with herself. She's the one that told me if a house is sitting on the market for a long period of time, the price is going to go down. I didn't tell her. She told me. So now she's helping me make my point. We do that through asking powerful questions. All right. So I want to choose Beverly. Can you throw out an objection to someone in the group? Maybe something you've gotten. I know you've been calling some for sale by owners lately, which I think is fantastic. Maybe something you've gotten on the phone when you were actually making those calls.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to try and sell it myself. I'm going to continue trying to sell it myself. I can do it.
All right, who you giving that to?
Carolyn. Hi.
Hey, Carolyn.
Hello. All righty.
Sorry.
You got this. You got this, Carolyn.
This is one of my harder ones. So,
what do you want to know from that seller? They're saying, I'm going to sell this house on my own. What questions come to mind?
Hold on a second.
I will say this, Carolyn. I'm just giving you some tough love. The FSBO's not going to let you hold on. They're going to hang up.
No, so, I wasn't ready. Sorry.
No, but listen, but here's the thing.
But you're right. You're absolutely right.
So I'm prepared. What are you going to say? Like, trust your gut. I want you to learn. Sometimes you know what to say. Trust your gut and don't feel like you got to pull up the script. What are some questions? Trust yourself.
So how did you come up with the price that you did to sell your house?
Oh, I just compared about what was selling around my block, around the corner, and I know what my house is worth.
Okay. I don't even know where to go from there, to be honest. This is actually one of my hardest objections.
Okay, so let's Diego. Go for it.
Beverly, okay. Yeah, I could definitely appreciate that, Beverly. And what's important to you about selling it on your own?
I just want to deal with it myself. I kind of think it's fun. I can get the highest amount of money, and I know I can do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I absolutely agree that you can do it. And just out of curiosity, do you know what the statistic is for a for sale by owner versus a professional realtor like myself, as far as the list to sales price ratio? So what you list it for versus what you sell it for?
I'm not exactly sure of the number, no.
Yeah. So in this market, right, we're in a hot market, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So in this market, most for sale by owners are selling at about 90% list to sales price ratio. So just to make easy math, right? Or let's take your house for instance. You're asking 500,000. So what that would mean is you would only sell it at 90% of that 500,000. And what's 90% of 500,000, Beverly?
490.
490? No.
No, I don't know.
450.
450. Okay.
Right. So it's $450,000. That would be what the average for sale by owner is selling a home just like yours in this market. Now, myself, my list to sales price ratio is 106%. Do you know what that would mean for your house?
No. Want me to figure
Okay.
it out?
No, it's okay. We can work it together. So basically, that extra 6% of 500,000 is an extra 30,000. So I would sell it for 530,000.
Mhm.
So if I could show you a way where I could sell your house and net you more money in your pocket right now, would you just take 5 minutes and hear me out?
How are you going to do that?
That's a great question, Beverly, and that's exactly why we need to meet. I'm available today at 5 or tomorrow at 6. Which of those two work best for you?
I mean, we just got on the market, so we just want to feel it out and see what we could get so far. I think we could do pretty well. How about you call me back in another month?
Sure, absolutely, Beverly, and I could definitely understand that you just want to feel it out and see what you get. Now, have you been getting lots of phone calls?
Yeah, we just put it on the market not that long ago, so we've been getting a lot of calls, and we're going to try and have a bunch of people come this weekend.
Yeah.
So,
I totally understand. And out of, let's say, 50 phone calls that you get, how many would you say are real buyers versus agents or just looky-loos?
well, yeah, we're definitely getting a lot of agents calling. It's pretty annoying, but we're getting people as well. So I guess we'll see this weekend what happens.
Yeah, absolutely, Beverly. And Beverly, do you have any experience selling any real estate?
Yeah, we sold on our own in the past, and
Oh,
we sold dirt. Yeah, we had some property. We just sold it pretty quickly a couple of years ago. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And that's great. And like I said, I mean, anybody could sell a house, right?
Mhm.
Ultimately, what's more important for you? You selling it on your own or netting the most amount of money?
Well, yeah, obviously, but that's why we're trying to sell it on our own to save the most amount of money. That's what we think. But you're saying otherwise, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I said. Hey, look, let's do this. I'm going to be in the neighborhood today anyways. I have a few appointments. So I'll come around like at 5 o'clock. It'll only take me about 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the amount of questions you have. I'll bring you a packet of information which you could actually use on your own if after hearing me out, you don't feel comfortable and confident with me. And you can certainly take anything that I say, any of the strategies, and just use it on your own while you're selling it for sale by owner. Is that fair?
Sure.
All right, great. So I'll see you today at 5 o'clock, Beverly. What's the best email address for you so I can send you my full contact information and some extra information about myself and my company and the top strategies that we use?
Sure. Okay, it's don't spam me.
Don't
All right,
worry,
I'm gonna
I won't.
pause you guys right there. My timer messed up, so I gave Diego more time than I should have. A good job going through that. Carolyn, did you see like the questions he went into?
Yes, I did.
I recommend you go back and like watch this recording and then write down what he was asking, because those were really good questions. I
Yes.
have two pieces of feedback to help Diego. However, before I go, anybody have feedback for Diego? Matt, and then Bomika.
Diego, when you drop numbers like that big vastness, let that marinate just a little bit more. Like, she sat there and she was like, even Beverly in her role play was like, wait a minute, that's a lot more money. Let that marinate a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
like
how does you and I meeting sound? Right? Oh, okay, that sounds good. Okay, let's do that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I love that you brought up, the math, because it was like it's 90%. What's that number? And we never want to make the seller feel stupid. And she was like, I don't know. So I would just say be very careful with that. And I have found that it's easier to kind of give them the answer. So most for sell by owners sell the property at 90% of value. I mean, so your home at 500, that means if you were selling it, you'd only net 450. I sell my houses at 106% to list price. So if it was me selling, it would sell for 530. So and then she said to you, so you're saying otherwise. I think I can sell it for more. You're saying otherwise. I want you to correct her and say, no, I'm not saying otherwise. The National Association of Realtors does a study every single year where they interview for sell by owners, and the for sell by owners are reporting that not only are they selling it for about 10% less than market value, but they also are involved in way more litigation and they're being sued a lot more. And so I'm here to help protect your equity and also protect you. That's why I want to talk to you. So like bring all that information that we know about for sale by owners into that. And it's like, I'm not saying this. This is not my opinion. This is fact. This is from a survey from the National Association of Realtors. And if you are open to talking with me, I like to show you how you can have better results working with me than selling it on your own. So good job, Diego. Thank you, man. You went right into good question mode. Denise, what's up?
If I was Diego, I was looking to get the pain point. I was looking to hear him ask, where was she going? What would happen if you didn't what was your time frame? What would happen if you didn't get there? How long did you plan on selling on your own? Before I think I would have gone to the statistics, but I haven't done this before, so I'm just talking out of both sides of my mouth.
No, you're making good points, and all those questions you brought up are good, valid questions, and that's one thing I love about scripts. You could go the way Diego went, you could go the way you went. There's no like you have to ask these questions first. They're all relevant questions. It just depends on where you want to take the conversation. So Denise, what you said was right. Raj.
So on Tuesday, I called for sale by owner, and he's very clear he didn't want to list me a fine. So I go over to see the property, and he's got these approved plans to flip it. And then he goes, just don't talk about it. And I was like, why are you not listing with an agent? Don't talk to me about it. I have my daughter who's an agent. I have multiple people. Okay, fine. Walked away. But I do have a property I might be selling if you want to see it. Another property. Okay, sure. So I followed him to the next property. Next day, he calls me back and he goes, so I've been told that I don't have to pay buyer agent commission. I will give you the listing, even though I don't want to give anybody a listing, but 2% total. You figure out how to pay the buyer's agent, or the buyer pays you. And I said, I can't do that. I didn't take the listing. I probably could have handled it better.
How did you handle it?
Well, he's like, give me in 10 minutes, call me back. And I said, I know you're talking about agents, and he claimed he had all these relatives that were agents. And I said, but these people who are telling, how are they going to negotiate for you if they are discounting their commission? He goes, no, you'll get 2%. Maybe I'll give you something on the side, $5,000. That's all. So I was like,
okay.
And it was a $750,000 home that he had plans to flip it for $2 million duplex.
Okay. Anybody want to say? Marilyn, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I would have just said, hey, listen, can I come see you so we can go over some pros and cons on how that could either be beneficial for you or not? Are you willing to discuss the pros and cons?
Okay. All right.
Yeah. He was in the mindset, like, he was just like, even after like walking away from me, like aggressive, he's like, I'm not here to list it. And then calling me back, he goes, a lot of people are really, I will list it with you because you saw me and all that stuff. So, and I did have a buy. I had a group of investors who I talked about. They were not interested.
Okay.
And I told that. But at that point, he had no time to come back. He wanted me to make a decision on the phone and that time, or he's going with somebody else.
How much would you have taken the listing for? Just out of curiosity. He's
Ideally,
offering
five.
two. What
Five
would you
minimum.
have taken it?
5 minimum.
Okay. So if he came to you and said, Raj, do it, man, I'll give you this listing right now if you do it at 4.5.
I would consider it.
You just said 5 minimum.
No. Well, no, I don't know. I don't think so because I still have my expenses.
I'm just messing with you, Raj.
No,
the reason why I did that though.
Tough one. But somebody put it in his head that like, oh well, we don't have to pay buyers agents anymore. I don't know who's telling him that. So that was part of the conversation.
I mean, they're hearing it everywhere. If you get on my TikTok page and look at all the negative comments about you guys are about to lose your job, we don't have to pay commission to you anymore. You guys suck. You're glorified door openers. It's out there. And Raj, here's what I just wanted to get at. You need to have a standard in your business on, I don't take listings under this no matter what, and figure out what that number is. I'm not telling you what it should be. You figure it out what it is for you and stand on it 10 toes down. And if somebody's offering you less, sorry, I'd rather turn you down than let you down. I don't work for that. I have a standard. I know my worth. Figure out what that number is and then.
Agreed. I didn't want to be that guy that put a listing with 0% buyer commission. So yeah, agreed.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's happening. However, I wouldn't want to be that person either. So I would work really hard to educate on why he wants to pay the commission out. However, this sounds like someone who isn't going to listen. And I'm done talking to people who aren't listening, right? So sometimes you got to move on if they're not being coachable, right?
I'll be watching it. I'll get it.
Veranda, then Matt. Be safe on muting. I know
so
you're.
I was just curious because he said he had 11. Sorry, yeah, I know it's not. But he said that he has a lot of family, relatives, everybody who's like real estate agents. So you're talking about, I'm not going to pay a buyer's agent commission, so you do it on your own. But I would say like, okay, I completely understand. And yes, that's true. What are your relatives saying about it? Since, you have so many people in the real estate business, because I guarantee you they're probably going to tell them like, no.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know who told you that. That is absolutely, and it's not just because of that. It's it's part of our marketing to pay a buyer agent commission. It's not just to get money out of your pocket, but I will also net you. I want to be very clear. I want to net you more money on this. Like it is not, if let's talk about the pricing and I can net, but yeah, absolutely.
Take that but out of what you said, and that would have been perfect.
If I could just real quick, I think it's just as simple as like, hey, listen, you're absolutely right. And the reality is you never had to pay a buyer's agent. My question to you is, do you understand that you could actually be losing more money by not fixing the number that you're paying out to a buyer's agent? Well, what do you mean? Well, you see, if you want a good buyer's agent on the other side who works with someone who is pre-qualified, has the funds to do all this kind of work, right? To buy this great home that you have. Well, if you're not paying out a buyer's agent commission, those quality buyer's agents, they're not even looking at your home. It could cost you tens of thousands of dollars. So what I'd love to do is sit with you and kind of show you the numbers of how that's actually playing out right now. And if it makes sense and you don't want to pay a buyer's agent, then you don't have to do that. And listen, Mr. Seller, I don't take every listing. If I don't think I can get you what you want when you want it, I'd rather let you down. What do you say?
Turn you down than let you down.
I'd rather turn you down now than let you down later. So let's do the right thing. Let's get together for 10, 15 minutes. And if it makes sense, great. And if not, then no worries. And you can do, what your family's kind of suggesting you should do.
Awesome. I love that you went right into question mode, and then you also created some pain there. Like, are you aware of what's happening? And people are losing a lot of money. So I like the way you handled that. Matt, and then Olivia.
Yeah, I went over this with a couple agents on my team as well. And I think a common theme here is, Raj, we'd agree you're a pretty busy agent. You do this full time, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So how much of this time did this guy waste for you? Right. By not a lot. Right. So what I would be doing is I would step into your power. Like, he's being aggressive with you, saying, oh, I got these other agents and I'm only offering you this. You have to do this. You do this. Okay. Match that. And I would just be like, okay, well, if you're talking to so many other agents, what made you come out with me today?
Yeah.
What made you call me back?
Call these people back. Yes. Call these people out. What made you call me back?
And he called twice yesterday, and then he texted me, call me back. like,
Yeah.
this is
Perfect.
a day after I met him.
He's
Yeah, let's
asking
role
for
play it.
you.
Let's role play it, Raj.
Go ahead,
Oh.
role play it. Role play
Let's
it.
role play it, Raj.
The first meeting or
what
the
made
when
you
he
call
called
me
me
back? Yeah, what made you call me back?
Well, I met a lot of agents, so like I said, I could find somebody who can do it for less, but I can give it to you with 2%, and you must get me at least what 750. But let me know now, because I'm going to make a decision in 15 minutes.
Okay, so you're saying that you want me to do it for 2%, and you want me to net you at least 750.
Yeah.
What did the other agents say when you asked them this?
I did not ask that question.
Well, see, that's the point. You see how I just simply did that, and it just threw you off? That's because I challenged you. Because he's full of shit, pardon my French. He's gassing you up.
Yeah.
Don't waste your time. You're busy as hell. He's gonna rate you 2%. You don't have to be that agent, right? Yeah. Because then you can go into, like, let's say he is gonna be that guy who says, oh, I want to only list it for 3%. Yeah. I would just turn around and be like, perfect. So you want to do 3%. What if we were to tell you that we could pay buyers to come and see your property? And they'd be like, wait, what? Yeah, we're gonna pay buyers, right? We're gonna offer to pay them. Would we attract a lot of people? Yeah. Okay. And then what if we told you that after all these people came through, we only had to pay one of them instead of all of them?
That's a
Oh, really? How does that work? Well, it's called buyer compensation. And this is how we do it. And now we go into the pricing triangle and then we talk about commission. All the same scripts that we know. So yeah, just don't waste your time. Go right after him.
Excellent.
Don't be intimidated by these people. It's just a phone call. You may never see this guy ever again.
Yeah.
I like what you're saying, Matt, but I wonder if for people who are newer to scripting, or you're throwing them off when you're saying we're paying the buyer. Like, can you explain?
Yeah, that's a little new. That's a little newer one.
It's a little.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's a little like, what do you mean pay the buyer? How are we paying the buyer?
Right. Yeah. Like the concept of paying a buyer, paying people to come see your property. Okay. Well, why is that? Well, because now we're talking about buyer agency. But yeah, that's how I would do it.
All right, Pete. Question for you, man.
Yo,
with your calls over this past week, what objection, what question did you get, and you were like, man, that was a powerful question. I want you to throw that out to somebody on this call, like maybe David Gossett. Throw out some objections out there and get some people on this call, and let's get it going, man.
Well, I think, excuse me, I think one of the ones I get most is, David, listen, man, yeah, I'd sell my property for a lot of money, but where would I go?
So when you decided to list your property, Pete, did you have an idea of where you were going?
No, I mean, we just, we wanted something bigger. So we just figured we'd see what we could get, but like, there's nothing out there. And I could sell it for, for 400 now, but like, I have to go out and buy something 700 and it's not even that much better. So it's just, where am I going?
Okay. Do you have anywhere you want to go? Like if you had a choice, would you want to stay in the same town? Would you want to go to a different town?
No, I mean, we'd love to stay in town. We love it. We love it here. And, all our kids have friends here and all that kind of stuff. So it's just, it's kind of tough. I think we're just going to end up probably putting an addition on the house.
Okay. Did you price out the addition?
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be like we were hoping around like 350, but the prices came back looking closer to like 400. Yeah.
So 400. So it's safe to say that regardless of what you do, you're already looking at an expense of about $400,000.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said that you're looking to get bigger, right? You're looking for bigger houses?
Yeah. I mean, these kids, man, they just take up so much damn space. And, my wife's working from home now. It's like, it's chaos at home.
Right. So you need to spread out a little bit. And that's understandable. And I also think it's important, to keep the kids with their friends. You're not looking to move, to break up those relationships. You just need a little bit more space. So have you been looking? I know you said 750 or whatever. Have you been looking for your new place yet?
Man, like I said, I mean, we were going to do it when we actually got it sold or, I guess an offer or whatever that we had accepted, and we looked around. It became too much. It was too stressful trying to get everything done at the same time. So I think, I just don't think, we're trying to go down that road again. It was just too stressful.
Okay. So yeah, we don't want you to be stressed out. Let's do this, Pete. Why don't I come sit down with you and let's look at the options, right? Let's look at what we list the house for, and what you're going to net. And then let's also look at some of the listings that are on the market, right? Let's take a look at what's out there on the market, see if you see something that you're interested in, and maybe we put together a plan, right? Like, how do we transition you out of this smaller unit into a larger unit in the same home? I'm available today at 5 or tomorrow at 6. Does either one of those times work for you?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I appreciate it. You sound like a nice guy and all that kind of stuff. But I think, if we were going to do anything, we'd probably just go with the agent we were working with previously. But is there anything that you can do differently that like is going to, make this easier, I guess?
Well, what did you like about working with the agent that he worked with before? What's one of the things that he did that you really liked?
Yeah, I mean, he got us our number,
Okay,
so I guess that was good.
that's good. So why haven't you had a conversation with him about this?
No, I mean, we told him that, we're just gonna wait it out. We told him he got us some contractor estimates, things like that. So
Okay.
I'm gonna pause you right there. Good job, David, man. You were asking a lot of questions. There was one thing, there was one place I was gonna go that you didn't go. I'm not saying what you did was wrong. I just would have handled it differently. Um, Pete was saying like we were selling because we wanted to get into a bigger property, right? Why is that important to him? Now he said these kids are,
Wife's working from home, kids are, getting bigger, taking up a lot of space.
yeah, but that's, you kind of left it at that. Like I would have gone a little deeper and I would have said, so Pete, man, I completely hear you on that. I got growing kids myself. So what's it going to do for you guys when you are in that bigger property? Like, tell me about that. Tell me a little bit more.
Oh, me. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
That was me.
Yeah.
That was on
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. All good.
Sorry. Yeah. I mean, if we're in a bigger I mean, we just have more space, and just, all the kids would have their own rooms. My wife would have kind of her own space. Yeah, I'm dying to have like just some spot to work out in the gym again. I used to have it before the kids, and it's just been like I just miss it. But I don't mind going to the gym, but it would just be nice to have some stuff, at home.
Well,
But
yeah, that's why we work hard, right? To fund the perfect life. And it sounds like for you having that space to work out and making sure your kids each have their own room. I remember doing that for my daughters, and it was such a good feeling because I grew up having to share. So I hear you on that, Pete.
yeah.
How's it going to make you feel like when we get this property sold for you and you are in that bigger space, your kids have their own en suites, you're able to just go down in the basement and work out, and your wife has her own office and everybody's happy. How's that going to make you guys feel?
Yeah, feel great.
Yeah, you deserve it, man. And listen, I understand the frustration if you haven't found what you're looking for and you're stuck here. I mean, now you're looking at doing an addition. However, it sounds like you really would prefer to buy a bigger home. Is that the case?
Yeah, I think so. But it's just been so tough. Like I don't know, when we did it before, it was like it just felt like it didn't make sense. We were doing like lateral moves for the same price for more money, and it was like, well, why not just stay here?
Completely understand that, except now it's time to expand. Listen, if I could
Right.
show you a way, Pete, where I can help you find a property, I know it's been tough to find what you were looking for. One thing I do differently than most agents that you probably have talked to is I prospect every day. And I know about a lot of off market properties of people who are willing to sell. They just don't have their home listed. If I could show you a different direction on finding you the right property, and you knew there was no obligation to sell this home if you didn't find the right house, I mean, I'm sure you'd be open to at least having that discussion, wouldn't you?
Yeah, we haven't started anything yet or anything with the construction on the house. We're getting some estimates and some plans and all that kind of stuff drawn up. But yeah, yeah, I guess if you had another way to get it done. But what do you do differently? What do you mean?
Well, first, what I'll say is you got a backup plan no matter what, Pete. If I can't help you and find you what you're looking for, the backup plan is to do the renovation, right? And yet, it's kind of like buying a new car. The minute you drive it off the lot, you lose a lot of money, right? It depreciates pretty quickly. So, is it better to go find you a bigger home and get a better pricing because someone's already built that bigger home? Or do you want to put the money into your house where you're probably not going to get it back dollar for dollar?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I've got so many people telling me all these different things at this point. I don't even know what's better anymore. I mean, this things are just so challenging. I just don't want a realtor coming in here telling me that, you know, this is what I should do because they're going to get a commission on it. And it's just like, that's where I think my wife and I are both like kind of just, the other agent was great. It just felt like it was just about just get it on the market, just get it on the market and we'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
And that just, that's where it just, it's hard to know who to believe and what to do in today's environment.
I'm going to make you a promise, Pete. I'm coming out to meet with you and your wife. I'm going to give you all the information you need to discuss maybe purchasing a bigger home. And we'll also discuss you doing the renovation on your house. My job is to give you the information you need so you can make the best decision for you and your family. Whatever you decide, I'm okay with. There is no pressure from me. If you see the value in listing your home, that's great. If you think it makes more sense to stay where you are, I'm okay with that too. So I'm going to come out tonight at either 6 or I can do Saturday at 2. Just tell me the time that works best for you and your wife.
Yeah, you know what, man? I mean, as long as there's no pressure or anything, because I'm telling you right now, the moment we start to feel pressure, my wife is going to kick you right out of the house. So I'm just giving you that heads up right now.
That's fair.
Yeah. So Saturday, I think would be better. If you can help us out and help us like run through the numbers and kind of show us what makes more sense. Yeah, I think we'd be open to that.
All right. And Pete, before I come out on Saturday, I have one question for you.
Sure.
How do I win with your wife when I come by?
Gosh. Well, I've been winning on and off for about 15 years. So no one knows better than me, but I would definitely say be on time and just treat us both with respect and you'll be just fine.
All right. I'll see you early with bells on. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks.
What do you guys think about the role play? And I saw somebody write in the comments like use and occupancy. Yes, that's something you could talk about too. That's the whole thing. There are a lot of different ways you could take this conversation. The purpose of practicing the scripts is learning those different ways that you can take that conversation. What do you guys think? Go ahead.
Yeah, one thing and I think you did obviously a phenomenal job. I think one thing that was maybe missing a little bit just from both role plays, honestly, was just both Davids, as it turns out, was just a little bit about that pain point of living through a construction zone, right? Because we're focusing a lot on like the stress of going out and finding another home, but like there's a lot of stress that comes along with construction and contractors and who's managing it and all that kind of stuff. And I think kind of painting that picture a little bit can also, tap into some pain point on that end too.
It didn't even cross my mind. So again, that's why this call is so important, because Pete just brought something else out that we can focus on. I hope you guys are like making notes or going back and listening to this later on, because that's a very valid point, right? I'm going to go to Beverly and then we're going to wrap up the call. Beverly?
So, are you going with, when you go on the appointment, are you going with other listings, like for them to possibly buy? Just examples? Are you showing him other options? Because you didn't really know that much about.
I mean, before I go out there, I'm going to pre-qualify. So I'll get more information when I pre-qualify, so I'll know. And yes, Beverly, if I had some off-market properties that I thought might be a good fit for him, I'll bring them by and give some examples. Like, here's an example. I've been talking to Mary. She would sell her home. She doesn't want it listed right now. But when you say bigger, what are you talking about? Would this fit? Is this something you might be interested in? Yeah, I would bring some examples. I think that's a really good point, Beverly.
There are also different loan programs available too, like buy now, sell later programs and stuff like that. So don't forget about that when you're having this kind of conversation too.
Perfect. I'm going to let Tanae and Matt get the last words.
Really quick, it's along the lines of what Beverly just asked. Aside from our regular package buyer seller presentations, do you guys add other materials that may help? So for instance, David, you spoke about, you said we're going to talk about the construction. Would you bring information about construction or referrals for contractors, or do you go that far with it to just show, your added value of like, I have these people, or here's some resources I can provide you? Do you take that extra mile, or is that like more of a personal
No,
agent by agent thing?
Pete hit it on the head. Like I was headed in the direction of the pain point of like construction, like trying to
Mhm.
live in your house while your house is under construction. And then my direction was compare cost of construction versus cost and ease of moving into another property without having to deal with construction.
But
Love
do
it.
you bring like any supporting material to further stress that point? I don't
mean,
know if it's like data or whatever.
I would bring, like, if you guys are in New Jersey and you've seen the Jeffrey Auto sheet talking about what an improvement is worth, like when you do an appraisal, I might bring something like that and talk about, hey, you're looking at remodeling your kitchen. It's going to cost you this. However, when the appraiser comes, they're only going to give you this value, on that particular item that you're thinking about renovating. Maybe having that type of conversation would be helpful, and having that type of information. And if you do have tons of vendors that you work with, I may not bring it with me, but I might talk and say, hey, I do work with several vendors or maintenance and general contractors. So I want you to look at me as being a resource. If you have any needs for that type of service, absolutely be willing to talk about that. Matt, you got it. Last word.
Yeah, Pete just kept saying pressure, pressure, pressure. Like, I don't want to feel the pressure. My wife doesn't want to feel the pressure. And I don't really have a specific script other than, the entire time should feel like no pressure. Like, yeah, we're there to get the business and the market's hot. We know we can sell the property quickly, but I always feel like I get more success by giving them the illusion of control of the conversation, and ultimately that's their decision. So when they feel like it's their decision, then that's where you actually get more breakthrough. So just show up with no pressure. Like, hey, I don't disconnect from the outcome. Yeah, you want to work together? No problem.
All right. I love it. Man, unfortunately, Alberto hopped off the call like a minute ago. I was going to wish him a happy birthday. His birthday's tomorrow. So if you guys know Alberto, make sure you reach out to him and tell him happy birthday. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. Quick question. Was this helpful? The conversation helpful? Okay. So I think, how do I say this? Okay. I'm just going to be direct. The fact that when I'm asking you guys, give me some scenarios for the call from the calls that you're making, like let's talk through some objections that you're getting and some tough questions that you're getting, and I'm not getting everybody's hands up on this call. You know what that tells me loud and clear? Somebody unmute and tell me what that tells me.
Not making phone calls.
Y'all ain't calling.
You're not making the calls. Here's what I want to say about that. Just make the calls. You don't have to be perfect at the script. You don't have to have the scripts internalized. Making the calls and prospecting while you're learning is part of the process. You don't have any business now. So if you make the calls and you completely if you make the calls and you completely mess it up, you're good, right? You're in the same place, right? Just make the calls. I promise you, you will get stronger and stronger every call you get. And if you're doing it properly, when they give you that tough question and you don't know how to answer it, tell them, great question, let me get back with you. If they give you an objection and you don't know how to overcome it, go figure out how to overcome that objection and call them back. It's okay to call them back. They don't remember who you are. Trust me on that. You call them the next day. Now you know what the objection is. You're ready to handle it. There is plenty of business out there. And I can't think of one person that I know right now that is at their goal for the year or above their goal for the year. Anybody in that situation on the call where you are just killing it this year? Yeah, sort of. But couple alligator arms, sort of, kind of, but nobody's killing it. So we got to get to work. If you allowed me to be your coach for a minute, I would tell you every day you need to sit down and say, how did I show up? Did I show up as a real estate agent, which means that I lead in and prospect? Am I operating like a secret agent and walking around and not telling people who I am and what I do? Am I creating conversations with people when I'm out in the world about real estate? That's what we need to be doing every single day. We got to stop being scared and playing it safe. You got to get in the middle of those conversations. You got to create those conversations. So if you want to have success, the business is out there. 90% of FSBOs list with an agent. Of course, they're not listening with you. You're not calling them. You're not following up like Bamika followed up with the guy for 6 months. who was an expired. We got to do the work. Do the work for you. I'm tired of seeing agents leaving real estate and going back to work. And they're going back to work, working 40, 50 hours for somebody else and busting their ass working for somebody else. And if they just put in that same effort to making calls and perfecting their scripts, they never have to leave real estate. I love you guys. I appreciate you spending your Friday mornings with me. I'm sorry to preach. I've been having conversations for the past month, and all I'm hearing is people ain't working. Stop worrying about this commission thing and buyer commission. Stop worrying about that. You can only control the controllables. What you can control is how you show up every single day, how many calls you make, how many people you talk to, how many appointments you go on, how often you're practicing your scripts. That's what you can control. Control the controllables. And I'm going to control my mouth right now and shut up and say goodbye. I'll see you guys later on. Y'all be good.
Thank you for that. Bye.
Thanks, David.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See ya.